And in the last couple years, there's been a movement from most of the bands that were doing these house shows and stuff like that now are touring nationally and doing things on a national scale. So the focus has kind of shifted from just being like garage, like, you know, just like dudes getting wasted playing really crazy shows or whatever, to everyone's gotten really professional, I feel like, in the last, specifically like probably the last 2 or 3 years. I would say that there's definitely a very high benchmark in Nashville, and a lot of bands that don't reach that benchmark usually don't last for very long, but a lot of bands make that benchmark too because they're pushed by one another so hard. So I think that's probably part of the reason why Nashville's exploding, is it's just iron sharpens iron, and I mean, it's a city of the best musicians in the world. Glen Danzig's house, which was run by Ben Todd and Cy Barkley and Nashville's Dead. It was the Nashville's Dead house. And I mean, like, the stuff that went on there, like the shows that went on there it was like kind of an atmosphere where you knew that you were part of something that at some point in time, like kind of historical archivers of music history would be referencing that. Like, it felt like you were part of something that we all knew was like really important and that would be remembered for a long time and be talked about, because it was just at such a level of intensity that I've never seen anywhere else. I mean, it was unbelievable. And even the shows too during that era, like the End and Exit In and stuff, were just, you know, like you had people doing cannonballs into the crowd and people actually catching them, and I mean, and people doing like backflips, and it was like stuff that you like watched on VHS tapes of Nirvana and like, you know, things like that, that it was the first time I ever saw anything like that in real life. And so I think that was part of why that was so special, was because everyone was so passionate. I think too, a big challenge will be as we get older. I think all of us have progressively started listening to a lot more mellow music and have more interest in taming some of the wilder aspects of what we do.
Maybe not having to play as fast.
Yeah, you know, not playing at 110% all the time, but learning to hold back and play kind of like the ballad songs and play like the quiet, like heartbreaking or sad songs. And I think the biggest challenge for us will be, I don't think it will be adjusting to that. I think it will be more so like with the people who come to our shows expecting us to just totally bulldoze them for 45 minutes to an hour a night with just like power chords and solos over the power chords. And I think the most difficult thing will be growing as a band and having everyone appreciate that in the same way that they appreciate us doing what we do now. Like, it'll still be entertaining and it'll be much more dynamic at the same time, but you know, like it's fun, and it pushes you as a musician to figure out how to make like a quiet song interesting and powerful in the same way that, you know, just like a raging, like, you know, party song with, you know, like tapping for guitar solos, like in, you know, like harmonizing and doing tapping. And I think, at least for me, it's like bringing the focus even more so into the songwriting realm. Kind of like, it started out just trying to be a really fun thing for us, and we all kind of started feeling this sort of duty and like responsibility to keep pushing forward and getting better, like wanting to challenge ourselves, because we could have stayed and you know, like if you listen to our first EP, we could have been another just really sloppy garage band. But for us, I feel like there was just so many influences that came into play that set the bar really high, and we all really believed in a lot of the people that we grew up listening to and watching, and we sort of wanted to follow in their footsteps and on the professional level that they took, where it was just like, you know, turning rock and roll into something that's larger than life. And a lot of that magic is gone, and it's been really hard, like, seeing that kind of disappear. And when you get into the industry and you kind of see how stuff works, and you realize that there is a lot less of the magic that you grew up believing in still present. And I think that is what I believe we are trying to bring to the table, is sort of taking rock and roll back to that sort of epic, legendary, like, my God, like, these guys, like, how did they pull that off? Or like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like that, I needed to see this, like, in an arena or something to believe in
that we're having fun, you know what I mean? Emmett put it best when he said he wants people to play, he wants to see us play and then go home and just practice guitar, as if seeing this movie School of Rock for the first time, you know what I mean? It's like we started doing this because we love to do it, and it's fun for us to do it, and the only way we can keep having more fun is to push ourselves, like what Jordan was saying. But I think it's rare to catch even one of us maybe not smiling, or maybe if they're making like a really, you know, freaked out face just because we're trying to nail a solo or something. But like, we're all jumping around, we're sweating. It's really hard. Even before I joined the band, I would see the band and just be like, yeah, there's no way I'm not going to have fun just being here and trying to facilitate an environment where the audience is in it with
it's really hard for us to conquer like a sad song and make it sound really sad, because there's a lot of energy. And so, I mean, that's kind of like, even Loose Jewels is actually a very sad album, because it's a satire sort of being a burnout, essentially. And but nobody picked up on that, and everybody thought it was like oh, like these guys are party animals. But it was like, actually, it's kind of talking about how horrible it is to be like this all the time. But definitely, I think both pull pretty hard, but in the end, I definitely see Light triumphing a lot more in that it's hard to just end a song open-ended in a really brutal, sad way, but it's more like you want to kind of drive home something that people can relate to and give them something to, at least for me, it's like I really like it when bands say something hopeful, like, and kind of spin it so it's like, yeah, this is really heart-wrenching and really brutal, but at the same time, you know, and it brings me to tears, but at the same time, I feel better after I listen to it. Like, I feel like catharsis when I'm finished with it. We've talked about it, but we've never done it.
That'd be cool.
We talked about once covering Trompe Le Monde by the Pixies.
It's a really crazy album.
Yeah, it's really good, and a lot of people don't. I feel like a lot of people skip over it, and it was like the Pixies doing full electric guitar, and it's amazing. It's like some of the best songs they ever wrote, but nobody talks about it.
There's even a song about sea monkeys on it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's a great song. I like that song.
And one of the coolest drum records, like just that the classic like beat, all the like the big stadium like girl dancing on the bar like drum beat, like the whole record is like that drum beat, but it's the best.
That record is good. I really would like to do like covering a whole album at some point. That'd be fun. I mean, it's just like, this is the kind of stuff that you like as a band over the years in the van and practice, whatever, just like talk about all the time.
still touring and playing arena tour reunion gigs or something, you know, like all of us have our own like side businesses and stuff, you know, like whether it's like guitar amplifier building or something. But
run a doggy bakery.
Yeah. Mine's not a dated company.
No. Maybe catch me moonwalking in